All right, everybody, welcome back to the True North Vision podcast. I've got my special guest, Mike Mallat, out with me today. Welcome to the fine establishment that is True North.
The compound, if you will.
Yes, it's definitely the compound. Mike,
Yeah.
you and I go way back, almost 10 years now.
If not more.
Yeah, hanging out at the Y and doing our thing, lifting weights together at the Y. And I wanted you out here because you are definitely someone that I look up to. And when it comes to hard work, when it comes to dedication, when it comes to life experience, and you've got plenty of that.
Oh,
I know that.
Please,
much.
please.
You know, so
I have plenty.
Why don't you tell me what's going on with you now? I'm sure people out there kind of want to know, who is Mike Mallat?
Well, you and I talked off camera. I haven't had a day job in 27 years. I've been a hustler, doing the bus thing, rock and roll buses. That's has been consumed most of my last 27 years.
Yeah.
Just riding around the country with rock bands.
Well, let's talk about some of the rock bands that you've had a chance to drive for.
Man, the list. My office looks like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but
Yeah.
only smaller. But I'm second generation. I grew up. My dad was doing it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Second generation. I think I told you the first time I was ever on the road in a tour bus, I was 18 years old on the AC/DC tour.
Must be nice. I wish. How was that?
It was good, but I met a lot of those guys out there when I was a kid, and as I I transitioned into bus driving when I just turned 24,
Mm-hmm.
and I got out on the AC/DC tour, 1996.
96.
I already knew a lot of the guys.
Yeah.
They knew my father, so that was a good in,
Mm-hmm.
if you will. The road family is the road family. If you meet somebody's kid, they're part of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good. It was good that, I got into it. He died in 92.
Uh-huh.
I started in 92.
Yeah.
Bittersweet, happy, sad. Opened up a bus,
Yeah.
Jumped in it with both feet.
Yeah.
At that time, that was the last, when I quit that job, I was a machinist.
Uh-huh.
That was the last 9-to-5 job I've had.
Yeah. See, and that's so awesome,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, they kind of want to take risks like that, but they're a little bit nervous to do stuff like that. I mean, obviously I feel, you had that little bit of advantage with the fact that your dad was a bus driver, and you kind of knew, he was a tour bus driver, so you knew the system, you kind of learned how to do all that stuff, which I know is, part of the case, but,
I'll tell you what made me want to make the leap.
mm-hmm.
I programmed CNC equipment.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
CNC machining equipment, computer numeric control.
Okay.
It's all computerized, And I was a programmer, I run production. But I thought, if I don't roll the dice on this, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to stand in front of this machine for the rest of my life wondering what would have happened.
And there's millions of people out there that still stand behind that machine.
Absolutely.
And thought about what they could have done or what they should have done.
Well, there are people that are self-motivated. There are employers. There are employees.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that way everywhere.
Definitely.
But I'm the kind of guy. If you can make a living for somebody else, you can do it for yourself.
Yeah. Hey, a lot of people, they just don't realize that. I think they always talk about, like I know Les Brown put it pretty well when he says there's a couple of different types of fear when it comes to taking leaps like that. There's that fear of failure, obviously,
Yep.
and then there's that fear of success. Afraid of that change. Is that comfortable, hey, things aren't that terrible right now, but things aren't that great either. So.
And people, it's complacency, I believe.
Yeah.
You know how much your paycheck's going to be come Friday. And if you strive out on your own, it might be less for a while.
Oh, gosh, that's the truth.
But the payoff could be 10 times what you were getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is the idea. Now, as a tour bus driver, you drove for Def Leppard.
Oh, yeah.
You get to do a little pour some sugar on me action.
Sure.
Who else did you drive for?
Man, I've toured with Paul McCartney. I've toured with Eric Clapton.
Eric Clapton.
I have.
That's amazing.
I have toured Metallica. I've done Metallica a couple of times. REO Speedwagon, believe it or not, is one that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Those guys are my friends.
Yeah.
You know, some of their guys on the crew especially.
Man, I can't fight this feeling anymore.
I
Tell
know,
me
right?
more. Come on.
Well, just ride the storm out for a minute.
Do it.
But I've toured with those guys off and on for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always a pleasure. But, you know, and even now, you know, I fly out. What I do, I've got a regular job, I told you, a full-time job with a blues artist named
Mm-hmm.
Tab Benoit. He works a couple, 3 weeks on, couple, 3 weeks off.
Wow, that must be nice. Tell me a little bit about this guy. I know we've kind of talked about it before, but I've listened to his music. Like you told me about him the first time you kind of told me about him. I just went on and started listening
Right.
to him, and the dude is
He's phenomenal.
amazing.
He,
yeah, really good.
He plays raw, coming straight out the amp.
Mm-hmm.
He has no pedals, no effects. He has his amps custom built.
Mm-hmm.
A gentleman in Dallas built them for him. It's just real. It's what he plays is what you get.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've toured with some of the finest musicians in the country.
Mm-hmm.
He's right at the top as far as talent goes.
Yeah.
You know, I was a staple on the John Mayer tour 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
You know, John's great.
Is he a
great
pretty
player.
cool guy? Or is he kind of...
No, he's a good dude.
Really?
He kind of hit a rough spot there when he did his Playboy interview.
Yeah.
Back in the
I remember
day.
that.
And so he had to backtrack a little bit. But the problem with him is his sense of humor. He's funny.
Yeah, he seems real dry, though.
He is, and a lot of people don't get the sense of humor.
Yeah.
So he kind of got a bad rap on all that.
Uh-huh.
But as far as being a good dude, we'd have crew parties. He would rent whatever.
Yeah, really. Just no holds barred, taking care of his guys. Is that how you're basically looking at it?
Yeah.
As a guy that
Yeah.
would just take care of...
Yeah, he, you know, at least once a tour.
Yeah.
We would rent, let's say, a wine bar.
Mm-hmm.
You go in, it's all comp, you know.
Yeah.
It might be a wine bar. It might be a nice restaurant. It might be a party boat.
Yeah.
We were in Tampa. We rented a party boat that went around in the ocean, so we could stop, swim,
Yeah.
eat, drink, all that. And he just takes care of his folks.
See, you know, and it's ironic that you talk about that. How much more, how much nicer it is to drive for a guy like that you know is going to take care of you. It's weird how it's kind of that sideways innuendo leadership stuff, that presence thing, knowing that he's the one that can control that. And I mean, are there guys that you've driven for that aren't like that at all, that are real kind of...
Some don't give you the time of day.
Yeah.
They don't take care of their crew. But all that stuff, it's just like life. It all starts at the top.
Mhm.
If whoever is running the company,
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
Whoever's name is on the ticket, it's a company.
Mm-hmm.
If they see the big picture, everybody's a lot happier.
Yeah.
You know, nobody's looking at their watch going, I just can't wait to go home.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years after I was working with John, Cheryl
Mhm.
Crow, they toured together.
Mm-hmm.
And they started having crew parties for everyone.
Nice.
And it went back and forth to see who spent more money. It turned into a competition, if you will.
See, that's awesome. Talk about a good competition. I mean, that's a shout out right there
Yeah.
to John Mayer and Cheryl Crow, you know, looking out for people.
We would, on Cheryl, we would, more than once, she would go and rent like a K1 go-kart track.
Mm-hmm. That sounds depressing.
Yeah. And we would go, with John one year, we went curling.
Uh-huh. That whole Olympic slide across the ice and let
rock,
it go.
The rock teapot looking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would.
I grew up in Wisconsin, so I know what curling
Well,
is.
there
I
you
never
go.
did it, but I mean, it was on TV.
I had never done it yet. I had never done it up to then. But who's going to miss that opportunity to
Yeah.
yell and take a broom? And
Yeah.
so, but you know, with Cheryl, we rented go-kart tracks,
Yeah.
and she was pretty good.
Mhm.
Giving her credit where it's due. Now, I outweighed her by like 100 pounds or something.
I believe that. You're kind of a big guy, so
Yeah. So, but, you know, and that's part of breaking the monotony. When you say you've got 4 months on the road, you got to break the monotony from time to time.
Mhm.
You know, and you know everybody thinks it's sex, drugs, rock and roll.
yeah.
Maybe it was. You'd be surprised how many people are into fitness. You know,
Yeah.
eating right these days. I'm not saying there aren't some shenanigans here and there, but
Well, there's got to be.
it has calmed down so much over in the last 15 years, probably.
Yeah.
It turned into a business.
Yeah, and I think it's just that cultural dynamic kind of changed. It's like guys really have to protect their investment a lot more, because that's what that is. Their careers, all that stuff, that's an investment. And nowadays, there's no way, like you were telling me a story earlier that I won't repeat about,
Please don't.
about one of your times on the road.
Yeah.
And thinking of that, like you said, you're like, there's no way they could get away with that kind of stuff
No.
now.
There was a distinctive change when the accountants and the lawyers got involved.
Yeah.
And part of that, as silly as it may sound, back in the day, they would tour to sell records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the ticket price money, it was fun money.
Yeah.
It flowed like water.
Yeah.
I was paid in stacks.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. Now, and I'll use Napster back.
Oh, yeah.
Now when you cut a CD, you don't have to sell it; people steal it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way they look at it, is stealing music.
Mm-hmm.
I'm two-sided on it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
For me, as the consumer, I'm all about the whole free market. Music is music, but then again, I understand people put a lot of time and heart and effort into it, and they want to get what they feel is deserved. Like I remember that whole Napster thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like Metallica, like there was all
Pearl
those,
Jam.
Yeah, and then
with Ticketmaster.
yeah, and then there was all those like spoof videos that you'd watch.
Mm-hmm.
Of Metallica losing their mind over Napster stuff, and it was you
Well-
can't stop that technology. I don't think.
Well, you can't, and I'm two-sided on it. If I buy a Metallica CD, and I'm like, "Hey, Jimmy, plug that in, listen to it,"
Mm-hmm.
is that wrong?
No.
Okay. Now, with the internet, with Napster, with all this stuff, it has gone global.
Yeah.
Is it still wrong, or is it still okay?
Well, I think they did the good thing with the iTunes and stuff, and being able to get like those specific songs you want for a couple bucks or whatever.
Right. Yep.
I think that's good. And I guess to put it in context for me, like at first when I was the consumer and I was thinking about, I'm like, well, I should be able to get music when I want.
Right.
But then I think about on my side with what I do now with leadership training and stuff like that. I couldn't imagine, if people being like, oh, we don't have to come out and take the leadership training. We can just download this right here, watching Jimmy, talk about
videoed
this.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so I can understand that
Yeah.
part.
And these days, with the Napster and Spotify and all that other stuff, guys tour to make money. The ticket price is important today.
That part's kind of crazy to me. Like the price of tickets.
What it costs?
Yeah. Like, for Christmas, I had really contemplated the idea of getting my mom Elton John tickets. And I looked online. I was like, I love you, Ma, but how about Disney on Ice?
Right.
Because she loves the Disney stuff, and she got to take the grandkids and everything, so it was cool. But, looking at what the cost would be for, and obviously for some of those bigger guys, when you're talking Elton John, you're talking whatever
Yep.
else, I get it,
Yep.
It makes sense.
Well, I told you I flew out and did a Elton John drive here last time I was home off a tab. Just flew out and helped some guys drive because legalities, if you will. The cost associated with touring these days, you think, oh, they're getting stupid rich. A few years ago, I did U2. And that tour was the largest rock tour to ever move.
Wow.
They had a 4-story claw that they set up. They had 3 of them. We had 198 trucks full of gear, crap.
Why?
We had 3 sets of 50 trucks carrying the claw and the aluminum tread plate. They would come into a stadium, put aluminum tread plate down so the trucks could come in and drive across it. And it took them about a week to set up and about a week to tear down.
See, that's crazy. I mean, don't you think like people would pay just for them to show up with like, just a few of their things and not needing, 200 trucks? I mean, it's like, obviously
George Strait does it all the time.
Yeah, no, and that blows my mind too. Like I think of Pure Country, and he's like,
Yeah.
I just want to get back to just playing acoustic and all that
Right.
stuff. It's like, who controls like how big it's got to be? Is it the actual artist? Is it like you said, the lawyers and trying to get more money out of
Well,
it? Or
it's my experience, and I'll use that U2 thing.
Mm-hmm.
The cost to break even on that tour, $750,000 a day.
A day?
To break even, they played 3 shows a week.
Wow.
It's staggering. Did they make money? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But they also spent a lot. You know, it costs a lot.
Oh
of
yeah,
money.
and think about all the people that they employ. They get to go on the road, get to
Absolutely.
set that stuff up. They bring it in. I mean, that part makes sense. Like I get it, you know. But
Well, we had 48 trucks that hit every show. We had 12 buses full of crew guys, and 2 jets. I mean,
That's a lot.
That doesn't count ground transportation. That doesn't count the catering is in there for feeding that many people. It's
I guarantee we're talking about stuff right now that people just do not know about when it comes
Oh,
to road stuff,
no,
and cost of
it's-
tickets, and all that stuff. And
well, and then you got the cost of ticket and your T-shirts. You know,
Yeah.
Some places you go, a T-shirt costs you $50. What they don't know is the house is taking 35% of that.
yeah,
You know, so just for the luxury of selling it there. So you know,
it's crazy.
and say you wanted, I don't know what the Elton John tickets were. Mom, here's your tickets. Man, I mortgaged the house. I got you some tickets.
Yeah,
She still got to get there,
yeah.
park, you know.
That part's ridiculous, too.
You know,
Stupid.
The ticket price is not the biggest expense depending on what you're doing. You know, it's just expensive, man.
Yeah, that's life now. I mean, really, when you think about it, you know, there's like, so yesterday I took the boys to Tommy Hawk's in Springfield. So I take
right,
the
I
boys
saw your post.
I'm telling you, it was so cheap for us to go in there and have such a good time, throwing axes, you know, watching Ryan. Like, Ryan was a little natural. Like, he's the last of the Mohicans.
Right.
The way that kid was with the
Right,
tomahawk, like, it was
right.
beautiful. And they're right
Yeah.
in Springfield, that veteran-owned business. They take care of everybody that
Yep.
comes in there. Like, I
Yep.
came in there and I felt, you know, at home in there. And
Felt like one of the team.
yeah, you know, and how they kept like rewarding and making the boys happy when they were throwing good and having a good time. I mean, they've got me and Ethan went over and we played some of that cornhole. Played cornhole. They got all those other games. I mean, you know, $25 a person for a couple of hours. I mean, you can't beat that. That's cheaper
no.
than going to a movie nowadays.
Right?
You know what I mean?
By the time you buy popcorn and something to drink, you might as well be up there.
Yeah, yeah. So that was awesome, and they're right down in Springfield, and I recommend anybody go there and check it out.
I didn't know they were there till I saw your post. I'll
That's the
probably
idea.
be making the trip.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely worth it. They're
Yeah.
super cool down there at Tommy Hawk's.
Cool.
I do want to get to that. You were telling me that your dad drove for Dr. Hook.
Yeah. Started off in 1978,
78.
78, 79.
I want to hear a little bit more about that.
Uh-huh.
We're going to be right back after a quick break from our sponsors.
Perfect.
Tommy Hawk's Axe House, the biggest axe throwing venue in the Midwest, right here in Springfield. Indoor axe throwing, shuffleboard, cornhole, and more. We are a BYOB establishment. Make your reservation online at www.tommyhawks.net.
All right, everybody, and we're back with my good friend Mike Mallat. So glad
Still
you could be out here, man.
Still happy to be here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a good opportunity for us to sit down and kind of chew the fat. And I know you've got this pretty new, it's still relatively new business venture going on with Wise Guy.
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
me about it, because I know people, I see it on Facebook all the time. People are always looking for a bug guy.
Yep.
Something like that. Let's hear about it.
The guy that runs my day-to-day, runs our day-to-day, he's 6-7 years into it now. We started just over a year ago.
Yeah.
Hung our shingle out, you know. It got it started. I have learned so much about the bug business. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
Jeff Lowe's his name.
What area do
Everybody.
you guys work? I guess is probably a big question to ask, because a lot of people that listen to the podcast stuff,
Yep.
What's your area?
Shoot, we'll go a 40-mile radius of Joplin.
That's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty good area.
Oklahoma excluded. Not licensed in Oklahoma. We're licensed in Kansas and Missouri.
Yeah.
Insured both states.
It's ironic. Do you know Kevin Upshaw is also a bug guy?
I did not know that.
How funny is that? Is that more and more that you guys have in common? But yeah, he's an exterminator as well.
I might
know.
have to reach out to him if I have, because with Facebook you can set a radius if you say you boost a post.
Yeah.
But I get calls from Oklahoma. I might reach out to him and, send them his way.
Yeah, I know he works Arkansas. I think is a big part of his
Yeah.
demographic as well. But it's super awesome. But you and I were having a fun story about the fact that not only do you do insect stuff, but
I've been known to do
you could say it. Trash pandas.
Trash pandas, yeah.
Trash pandas.
Yes.
You can tell by the look on my face, my distaste.
You don't like
If you don't know what a
trash
trash panda is, that's a raccoon.
Right.
It's a possum. If anybody's heard me talk about my chickens, I have
Yes,
got...
you've lost many a bird
Yeah.
to a trash panda.
Yep, and to foxes and to possums.
Right.
Possums are probably the worst, just because they are so nasty looking. Like, and you hear people all the time like, "Oh, but they're so cute." Negative.
Yeah, no,
Negative.
no.
They're dirty. They're
No.
gross. The best story I've got. Okay, so I'd have a live trap,
Right.
out there, and well, first I'd started videoing the fact that they were doing patrols on my chicken coop. So it'd be a raccoon.
Right.
Half hour later, it'd be a possum. Half hour later, it'd be a raccoon. Half hour later, a possum.
Almost like they were having meetings.
Yeah. So I put out live traps, and I come out there one morning, and I've got a raccoon in one. I've got a possum in another. Okay. Now, a raccoon I consider a pretty good adversary. They're really smart. Watch them crawl up fences and how they work. They're
Yep.
extremely intelligent. And I won't say what I did to said raccoon when I caught him, but first he had this cute look like, "Please, mister, don't hurt me. I'm just trying to eat.
And
I
you
gotta
went,
feed my
"Okay."
babies." And then he started really growling at me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then he just magically died. Somehow.
Right.
I don't know how
It
he
happens.
died. It happens. And then I went over to the possum, and it was even quicker. So when the raccoon died, I took it out to the woods because it's got to feed the earth. And so I'm not sure if you know this or not, okay? When you go fishing, right, and you go out there and you catch like a trash fish, like say it's a drum or, just
Right.
something that's crappy. What you do to appease the fish gods is you take it and you flip it as hard as you can. And when it hits the water, it does this like real weird spin and swims off. And that's how you appease the fish gods.
Right.
So my thought process is when the possum magically died, I had to do
Right.
the same thing.
Right.
So where I set the raccoon down, the possum got the nice little flip out into the woods to appease the chicken gods with the chickens I have. So tell us more, like the fact that you do that kind of stuff, is that unique for a pest guy to...
Yeah, it kind of is. Like I said, Muskrat Jeff, he runs the day-to-day. He does most of the routine, like the spraying and the, granulars in the yard inside and out. When I'm in off the road, I get the, "Hey, there's something in my attic" call. We never know what it might be, but, I'll go out and take a look. It's, and sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's a drug-out process.
I believe it, but that is another example of how your grinding mentality, your ability, your want to work, even sometimes when it's a little bit more difficult or a little bit more challenging. And that's one of the things, for you and me, that I think we can really appreciate each other, that
Right.
value
Absolutely.
of the fact
Absolutely.
that you're always willing to keep going that next step and that next step and that next step.
Well, with Wise Guy, we're not a 9 to 5. We're not an 8 to 6. Those are the hours on our Facebook page. Those are the hours on our website. You call us Sunday afternoon, we'll be there. Being a young company, we have to offer service that other established companies may or may not offer. Not saying they won't. What I'm saying is we have to go the extra mile. Service is in the name.
Yeah.
We have to provide the service. So if you call us anytime, of course, if you call us at 1 a.m, we'll call you back at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
that's how we work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the latest call gets the earliest call. That's how it is. But we want to help.
Yeah.
Some people have minor problems. Some people have infestations. And everybody's different. Everybody will live with whatever amount of bugs they're comfortable with. Some
Yeah.
are none. Some are 3. Some are 5.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, we have to go the extra mile and personal service. And with us, if there's something kind of outside the norm of every day, somebody spraying your house, we're not above doing it.
Yeah, see, and That goes back. That's, again, one of the biggest reasons why I wanted you to come on and talk.
Yep.
Because a lot of the people that do listen to what we talk about, when we talk about leadership stuff, when we talk about personal development, when we talk about improvement, is the fact that I think people need to see examples of that. And I think you're a definite example of that really, really work hard ethic. You know, for you and I, when we met at the Y. You know, we were in Lifton. You were all beefed out, doing your thing.
Yeah.
I was kind of beefed out. I was getting there. You know,
you were training to be a fireman.
Yeah.
For the fireman test, I believe back then.
Yep.
Yeah. You were at Reddings Mill, is that right?
Yep, Reddings Mill.
But there you go. It's another example of nobody's going to give that to you. You have to earn it.
Yeah.
And in this world, nobody's going to give me business. I'm going to have to earn it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we go the extra mile. That's why we take the late calls. That we do the early jobs. Not everybody works 9 to 5. Some
Yeah.
guys work the evening shift. They might want to start at 11:30.
Yeah.
We'll schedule it. You know, and we don't charge extra for it.
Yeah. See,
Probably should.
Hey.
Let me think about that. let me think about that for
Well, you
a
know,
minute.
but I mean, again, that's just, you know, your ability to know that you've got to adapt and overcome. I think we're just living in this time and age of people where they feel like, you know, mediocrity, you know, and just being,
It's becoming the norm for some.
yeah. And that blows my mind. You know, every time I'd be in the gym, I see you in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, yeah, I just got off the road, and I'm restoring this car, and
Oh, yeah.
I've got this next rental, and I've got this going
Uh-huh.
on, and I've got that going on. And it's just that constant grind, but it's afforded you some great opportunities to enjoy some of that, to enjoy, like, what'd you say? You guys went,
Learned to surf.
Yeah.
Went to Costa Rica and surfed here, last July? 50 years old, I learned to surf.
50 years old, learned it. But again, that's just a product of that
Of hard work.
that hard work ethic.
Yeah. Not everybody is self-starting. You know that. You know.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are born leaders. Some people are learned leaders. And some people won't ever be a leader.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not what they do.
Which is okay too.
Absolutely.
I mean,
No. But me personally, you get out of life what you put into it.
So tell me, with your size, being 50 and all that stuff,
Yeah.
you're obviously big into fitness. I mean, big enough to where you want to stay healthy.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
want to do that stuff. What
Yep.
is it that drives you when it comes to, man, I got to get out of the bed and I got to get to the gym. I've got to stop working for a minute. I got to get to the gym. What is it that separates you from the normal person that's like, well, I can't really get there today, so I'm not going to do it? What is it that really triggers you to do that?
I'm not okay with average. In my personal life, in my business life, I want to beat average. I don't want to be average.
Yeah.
I want to, put myself a step ahead of whatever the norm is. And like I said, it doesn't matter. And I'll give you an example. You mentioned rentals. I don't own a rental house I wouldn't live in.
Yeah.
Could I make more money elsewhere? Doing it different? Probably. But
Yeah.
it's just not, I don't have any trouble keeping mine full.
For that reason. That's just
Right.
another great example
Right.
of the fact that, if you're going to set the example, you have to set the example. You have to be, everything that you'd ask of someone else.
Absolutely. With the rentals, I keep them like I would want them if I was renting it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can actually ask anybody that rents from me.
Do you know how hard that is to find nowadays?
It's tough. And Yvonne and I, my better half, Yvonne she's instrumental in managing the rentals and picking the colors and helping with the work.
Yeah.
We're like a good team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How
She's-
important is that in a relationship when it comes to
Oh.
fitness and when it comes to just life? You just have to have stuff in common. I mean,
Oh,
from
and-
every conversation we've had with you and Yvonne is
Right.
just how much you guys have in common.
Oh, we do. And she is the same way. She wants to beat average. She is going to be better than average in everything she does. And that is one of the reasons we get along so well. She sets her sights a little higher,
Yeah.
just like I do in fitness, in her business life. She's a real estate agent, so she helps secure the rental property. If one comes by, she'll go, "Hey, you need to take a look at this before it gets on the market."
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
sometimes, and a lot of times in the rental business, you make your money when you buy it.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty handy. I do all my own maintenance, all that stuff.
That's a huge plus. And I've had you come out here a couple of times.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you're one of those handy guys where I'm like, "Hey Mike, I could use a little help with some of this welding stuff or breaking this part." And you're like, "Well, I'll be right out, brother."
You bet.
And you come on
If I
out.
can't fix it, it ain't broke.
Yeah. That's a fact. And you restore cars too.
Yeah.
I've seen some
Yeah.
of the vehicles you've done.
Yep.
It's amazing. Like if you're watching this, I know you've got pictures
Yeah.
floating around out there. I just think it's amazing. But again, that just speaks to you, the fact that, you get out of anything what you put into it.
That's
Even if you
that's
get a
life.
beat up car, how you can turn that into what you want
Yeah, and
through hard work.
It takes time. It takes hard work, and it's that way in life with just about anything.
Yeah.
You get out of it what you put into it, and a while ago you touched on being self-employed and
Mhm.
hustling and this, that, and the other. Especially when you hustle,
Yeah.
you get out of it what you put into it, and you can, for lack of better terms, you can make as much or as little money as you're willing to put the effort out for.
Yeah.
So.
And I think it's just kind of a different mindset. And you almost have to have that different mindset if you're going to be a business owner or if you're going to get into something like that.
Yep.
You have to realize, and I've had this conversation with people before. When it's like, well, you own a business, you've got to have this and this and this. I'm like, whoa, well, let's back up this train a little bit because what I have is a lot of hours invested in
Mhm.
working.
Yeah.
And, knowing that, you've got to build everything first. You have to have that solid foundation where, most people aren't willing to really establish that solid foundation. They
Well-
kind of put the cart before the horse, so to speak.
With like Wise Guy Pest Control,
Mhm.
we have started building slow. Could I have a fleet of new trucks? Absolutely. We are debt free.
Yeah.
We don't owe anything on our office. We don't owe anybody anything. We could go borrow a bunch of money and flood the advertising market.
Mhm.
I don't see that as a good business plan.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't have to worry about paying the electric bill tomorrow
Yeah.
because we're debt free. So
I still have to worry about it. but it's just because it's the growing. It's realizing that we can't have the most amazing stuff, but we chip away at it. We chip
Absolutely.
away at those little successes. A lot of people, I think they forget to kind of everyone wants to set that huge long-term goal of success.
Uh-huh.
What they view as that end point as being a successful business owner,
Mhm.
successful in fitness, successful in whatever it is. But I think in order to do that, you have to set those little goals. And when you win those little goals, the quicker ones, where it's like, okay, I got new masks for people that
Right.
are out. That to me, that's a victory. And that's what we build off of. And
even if you have to buy 5 new masks at a time,
Yeah.
until the old ones are retired, or ever how you build your business, you can bite off more than you can chew really, really quickly, and people make it easy for you.
Oh yeah, they're like, yeah, here we'll throw you this amount of
You
money
bet.
for this,
You
and
bet.
we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
For
And-
this, and to anyone that's out there that's listening and stuff, how is it? It doesn't seem like it was an overnight thing for you, because every time I talk to you, it's something new that you've done or learned, and you're free to share that. I think that's another.
It's been a very slow building process.
Mhm.
From the time, I'll go back to when I started driving rock and roll buses.
Yeah.
I was on the couch circuit for 6 years. I lived in a rock and roll bus 300 plus days a year.
Wow.
Big sacrifice. Not a lot of people willing to do things like that.
Mhm.
I could have had a brand new Corvette.
Yeah.
I drove an 82 Mazda pickup back and forth to Mississippi
Yeah.
until it blew up.
Yeah, see, and you just don't get that really anymore. I think people live in this age now where it's
Mhm.
like, got to have everything right
Mhm.
away and not willing to put in the work. And you hear about, like you said, you drive, you've been all over the country.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we were talking about is the fact that you see signs everywhere with the help wanted.
It is. And that's what a lot of people that don't get out of town much, they don't realize there are help wanted signs all over. I used to notice them 10 years ago. I noticed them in Edmonton, Alberta. The oil sands up there and stuff. They couldn't get enough help.
Yeah.
You don't see them up there like you do in the U.S. now.
Why is that the case?
Our economy's growing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, say what you want about Donald Trump.
Oh, we're going to be talking about that, man. We still got quite a few minutes to have conversation.
Right.
So I promise you and I are going to have a good conversation about that kind of stuff.
But I think the economy's doing better and better. Like I said earlier when you and I were just wrapping up, most people in America that don't have jobs don't want them, I believe.
Yeah.
It might not be the job you want, but it would be income.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's we've got the great luxury of having our own companies
Right,
and businesses, like another thing that we have with the 2 Bravo laser. What do you think of your cup over there with the welcome home
It's
on there?
great. You should have my logo on it, though.
Hey, we've got them. We can definitely make them,
Right?
Why not? So, and that goes for anybody that's listening to us.
Right.
Be sure and check out 2 Bravo Laser Design. Check out for the tumblers. We do a little custom engraving right there. We've got the True North logo on there with
I
the 2 Bravo.
won't tell you what's in here, but it's still cold.
Hey, that's the idea. And it'll stay cold for a good amount of time.
Right.
So with that, we're going to get a quick message from 2 Bravo, and we'll be right back.
All right.
Awesome. All right, everybody, and we're back with the True North Vision podcast with my good friend Mike Mallat.
Broadcasting from the compound.
From the compound, living life, living large.
You bet.
Things are awesome. So we talked a little bit earlier about your fitness. Okay. With you, you're in your 50s. You said you're 51?
51 now.
51. You're in great shape. What's the secret, man? What's the secret?
People
People want to know.
Get out of bed. People go, how do you stay in shape? What do I need to do? What? Walk through the door of the gym.
Yeah.
Walk out your house. Go run.
Well, there's a lot of people that do walk out the door, get to the gym, but then they stand around and talk to each other for 2 hours.
That's why I have headphones.
I know. I've seen you in there, man, but you're in there and you get it.
Yeah.
And we're talking all times a day, whenever you can.
Yeah, I'll chat here, there, and yonder. Most of my time when I'm on the road, I'm by myself. I work out by myself. I put my headphones in. I do what I do. And then I leave. I don't know anybody. Now, there is a social aspect when I'm home. A lot of guys I won't see them for 2 or 3 weeks. Hey, what's up? Some are business acquaintances. Some are just friends like you.
Yeah.
I see you in the gym. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
but a lot of times, I'm there for me. Having a partner that is a fitness buff.
Oh, she makes sure you get in there too. I guarantee it, huh?
Well, it might be a little competition.
Yeah.
We have trained together maybe twice in 10 years.
Yeah.
These days, she goes for her.
Yeah.
She trains, does personal training in home as well. But with that, we were able to go, I told you, we learned to surf.
Yeah.
Went to Costa Rica, learned to surf. In June, we're going to go climb Devil's Tower. We rock climb.
That's amazing.
Now, if we weren't both fitness buffs, it would be tough.
Yeah.
We'll go to Jasper, Arkansas, Horseshoe Canyon Ranch, 2 hours, 2.5 hours from here.
Yeah.
Now, the hike to the wall where you climb.
Takes a little longer.
Well, it's a half, 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah.
And it's not flat. So, that's one of the aspects of us. That's what we stay in shape so we can do stuff like that. We whitewater raft.
Oh, see, that's cool.
We rock climb. We just surf. We, just whatever.
Making memories.
Absolutely.
Memories.
Absolutely.
And it's cool to see people that still do stuff like that. Get out and do stuff together. And, I told you earlier. So with you and your hard work ethic
Right.
and everything that you've been through in life, because you're kind of old school. I would say
Yeah.
at the 50-year-old age group, you're right,
Right.
at the old school. I feel I'm there. I'm 40. That
Right.
work ethic and all that stuff. And in today's day and age, everything so fast moving, and you've got people that just have no clue, and you've got people that think they have a clue and all that stuff. So I want to talk your thought process on maybe the direction of the country. How are we going right now? How are we feeling? What is it going to take for people to wake the F up
Yeah.
and fix some things? I kind of want to know your view on how you're viewing the current the POTUS,
The
and
political climate, if you will.
yeah. Let's hear it.
My 2 cents.
Yes, that's what I want to know.
I didn't-
Your 2 cents.
I
That's what
didn't-
everyone listening wants to know is Mike's 2 cents. To me, you speak a lot of common sense. And I think that's one thing that's really lacking in today's day and age. Just a little common sense.
Oh, the political bickering back and forth. I mean, instead of having one country, we have 2 sides. And they argue over the most minuscule stuff, things that don't matter. And social media partly is to blame, I believe.
Oh, it's a huge part to
you
blame.
I didn't vote for Donald Trump because of his past, because he's squeaky clean. He was a construction guy.
Yeah.
You know
how that works. Their wise guy business.
Right.
You know what's up.
Yeah. I'm not married to him.
Yeah.
What he did here, there, and yonder doesn't matter to me. Is it good or bad? Everybody has to make that decision. Your opinion may differ from mine. I'm more about him turning the economy around like he's doing. Mm-hmm. Unemployment is down. It's down. My IRA is up.
And you put that on him. Or do you think that
I personally believe his tax plan had a lot to do with it, the tax incentives. It may cost us a little bit down the road, but I believe his idea of getting corporations to pay in more, it will turn it around. Where they're, he's created more jobs, put more people to work paying into the system.
Yeah.
Here's
the part that I don't like about Trump.
Okay.
For me, when I'm thinking about it. Now, as far as how he's doing as president and all that stuff, that's part of it. I think he and I are from 2 completely different backgrounds.
Right.
And I think that's one of the biggest where there is that difference. I mean, the dude is from New York. He's a business tycoon. He does all that stuff.
You're
He's
Wisconsin.
He's got his mindset in Midwest for a good part of my adult life.
Right.
Where maybe it's a little bit slower moving, where maybe it's not quite as abrasive and in your face. And I think that's one thing.
Agreed.
That people just don't understand. That's just kind of, how he grew up. Now, other than that, it's like I don't have much in common with the guy. When we talk leadership stuff, I'm more on the empathy side. Mm-hmm. And I don't think, from what we see, from what he puts out on Twitter and all that stuff,
right.
The dude needs some help with empathy. I believe.
Yeah.
And at the time, is he playing the tough parent? Maybe that's part of it. And I think there are a lot of people out there that need to hear that really kind of need that shake.
He's like the doctor that you go in and the doctor said, "You're fat, you need to lose weight." You're mad.
Yeah.
You're mad. But you walk out the door going, "I need to lose weight."
Yeah.
I mean, there's
another thing that I kind of have, because for me, I'm not a huge politician fan anyway. I mean, and when I say that, the whole politics game, it's kind of a facade.
Right.
And I think so many people take some of this stuff so personal that who
hasn't lost Facebook friends over politics?
It blows my mind.
Right?
It blows. And the funny thing is, I've put this on so many different posts. I'm like, it's like a WWF.
Right.
WrestleMania type thing where it's like, no, the Ultimate Warrior is the best wrestler ever. No, it's Hulk Hogan. Who's going to win this time? And then they're like, F you, man, I'm out. And then block.
Right.
And it literally just blows my mind that how few people actually realize how little it impacts us. There's stuff, obviously, like you said, that changed the economy and all that stuff. But when I think about who I look for in a leader, when I think of the integrity mindset,
Right.
there's that part of me. Okay, so with the Mueller report just coming out.
Right.
You know, and I've read it and
Yeah.
I've seen it, and you know, I think most people don't. They just, you know, they're so used to reading either if they're on the left side of the house, they read the left side,
The
you know,
opinions,
spin.
the op-eds.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you've got the right side that read just that, and there's no like real just truth anymore.
No. As bad as I hate to say it, the reporter of yesteryear is gone.
Yeah.
All of them are trying to sell their book, and they're trying to sell it to their audience, and they will spin. You know, it's like 5 people see a car wreck, you'll get 5 different stories what happened. People, depending on which side of the aisle they're on, they will take from that story and tell their audience the pieces they want to hear. You know, it's been said by wiser men than me. There's 3 sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way it is in reporting these days.
Well, I don't even know if it's just that. You know, what I see now in today's day and age, that it's a guilty before proven innocent.
Oh, absolutely.
Instead of the other
Absolutely.
way around that it should be.
Yeah.
And no matter what the Miller report said, no matter what any of that stuff was, people already had their mind made up. Either, you know,
Yep.
he was coming out squeaky clean, or, you know,
He's
this guy's the
100%
worst.
guilty.
You know, and then the problem I have with that is those same people that are saying, oh, he's guilty, and, you know, the Republicans, they don't work with integrity and blah, 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 blah. But then it's like, okay, so you're a fan of Hillary Clinton? Really? Like, she's like the utmost outstanding Citizen of the Year award? Like, come on, man.
Well, I
She's,
don't know that the other shoe has. It's waiting to drop. I believe. I firmly believe there's another shoe's going to drop on that coming out of this Mueller report. Maybe not. And you touched on people get crucified in the media before they've done anything.
yeah.
You know, there and the
How do we get past that, though? How does that change? Like, I had someone ask me, because I had made a comment like that about, you know, no one wants to take personal responsibility anymore, and people give breaks to the ones that they like.
Right,
You know, they can
right.
do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't think that's really the case. So, you know, you don't know what you're talking about. But then they take it so personal that they're like, how can you say that about Donald Trump? And it's like, well, he is
it's just
kinda-
it's my opinion.
yeah, but people are so ready to, you know, just hate each other. And I feel like social media, I feel like, you know, the media pundits, I feel like all that are
Yep.
doing exactly what they want to do.
Right.
They create that separation. And next thing you know, I'm wanting to come through the computer screen and choke somebody. And that's on both sides of the aisle. For me, I've always kind of taken, you know, I favor to the left on a lot of things, and I favor to the right on a lot of
Well,
things.
you and I are a lot alike. There's not a pigeonhole I fit in.
Yeah.
I'm a gun guy. You know that. I've got enough.
Got to be a gun guy. If you're
got
not a
enough-
gun guy, you're
Yeah, right.
not a guy. That's just my thought.
You know, I believe abortion should be available, but I believe it's a very poor form of birth control.
Yeah.
It should be available, but I don't believe you should be able to take a baby from the womb in the 9th month. I just don't. So, you know, there's not a pigeonhole.
Yeah.
You know, now, guns and abortion, those are 2 issues that neither one will ever let go of.
So, and it doesn't even have to be that polarizing, but I think
it
the
is.
media polarizes it. And if you're like not this or that, you're automatically the enemy of the thought.
Right. And there's not a happy medium for guys like you and me.
Yeah.
There's not a quote unquote party that's like, hey, you can have both or
Yeah.
have neither one. You know, it seems like you have to be on a side.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like that. One of my dear friends here, Jim Adams. I don't know if you know Jim or not.
No, I don't think
Good man.
so.
He is a diehard Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
We've been friends since we're knee high, and we have political discussions, but we're cordial.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no disrespect.
You don't get that very often
No.
anymore.
And we got into a Facebook thing, and it's like, well, why don't we just sit down and chat? We need to have a beer around a picnic table. It turned into, okay, we'll all meet in Vegas. And we went to
Nice.
Vegas for the weekend.
Nice.
It was Jim and 2 other friends of ours, 3 conservatives, 1 Democrat. You know,
Oh, that had to be fun.
here's what we discovered, Jim. At the end of the day, we all want the same thing. We just differ on how we're going to get there.
And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think if people could take anything away from certain conversations on Facebook, when
Right.
I talk about the empathy thing, I talk about the fact that we're really not that different.
No.
2, we forget that the person that you're talking to you're not just having a conversation with them in that moment. You're having a conversation with them in their past experiences and other things that they've seen and the way other conversations have gone and the way they feel they've had to be defensive on certain parts and on the way, and then the fact that they've been bombarded, like just literally bombarded. And, you know, Facebook and a lot of them are so good now at delivering the message they know that that viewer wants to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's Mark Zuckerberg's playground. He can do with it what he wants if you're talking about Facebook.
And I'll tell you, and if you want, no matter what side of the house you're on, like for me, AOC, you know what I'm talking about, right? Cortez, whatever.
Yeah.
This woman drives me crazy. She is, to me, the epitome of the product that that's been created out in the world. And for me, I look at her and I'm like, man, you are dumber than a box of shit.
Right.
And
right.
that's how I feel because of what my experience is. Now, can I be respectful about it?
Yeah.
Well, I just want to have a conversation with her. And if I do have a conversation with her, you just see me doing this a lot.
Well, I find it hard to believe. I understand it. She was elected by 16,000 people.
Yeah.
And they put her on the finance committee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So you have somebody that, and I'm not taking anything away from bartenders, some of the hardest working people you know.
Yeah.
But went from being a bartender in a little bitty burg to being on the finance committee.
And on top of that, not just on the finance committee, but you're talking about giving so much of
Press.
a platform and press. Elected by 16,000 people in a country with, 635 million people.
Ever how many is here? It's growing every day.
And she has relevance. And now I understand
media's
everybody
given
should
that to her.
have. Yeah, but I understand people should have, at some point. But it's like, it shows you how manipulated
Absolutely.
we all are by what it is that's pushed to us. And that's the thing that really kind of trips me out, where people really don't take the time, or they take everything at, this real deep value. And it's like, man, come on. If you just go down to the end of the block, if you have a little picnic with your buddy, that you kind of disagree with on some of this stuff, you can actually have a real conversation. You're not going to get any value out of reading these op-eds.
No.
And
it's all geared to divide the country. And, we've said it 100 times. I travel all over the U.S., Canada. What I find is the whole quote-unquote racism narrative isn't nearly what the press would like you to believe. And I say that, and it's as simple as just recognizing my day-to-day.
Yeah.
In my day-to-day, doesn't matter if it's L.A., Boston, where I go and what I do. I walk into a 7-Eleven, I hold the door for the person behind me.
no matter who it is.
Doesn't matter who it is. And that person holds the door for them.
Yeah.
No matter who it is. So I don't believe the division in this country is as bad as the media, social media, mainstream media. I don't believe it's as bad as they would have us
Oh, they
believe.
want it worse.
Well, they want us to be divided because if we're fighting with each other, we're not coming after them.
Yeah. And that's people just need to take the time, do their research. You know what? It's like if you really, feel that there's something going on, read about it. Do your own research. I don't know how many people say the same, just throw up the same crap every single day. And you know what? And you have a and like you and I having a conversation, like, these people aren't out for your best interest, right?
No.
And they're like, oh no, it's just the Republicans that aren't. Oh no, it's just the Democrats that aren't. And it's like, man, I don't know how to change that. And, I just hope with this conversation that you and I are having.
Well, yeah, we're putting it out there that, I don't believe the division is what they want you to believe. As I said.
And what we see on social media. Again, it's social media, so we get caught up on that.
Well, and the trouble is you can post anything you want on social media. You can make a meme that is inaccurate, and people will run with it.
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time. Mike, it's been super awesome sitting and chatting with you on this stuff.
Let's do it again.
Oh yeah, dude, we could definitely do it all the time. I did want to point out, we always talk about Compass Quest. Compass Quest, veteran organization that helps other veterans. One of the big things that they have coming up, and it's not just them, it's the Joining Community Forces Council meeting that's going to be coming up.
Right.
That is out at the Joplin City Hall on May 10th from 1 to 2. And we kind of talked about it, but
We
what
did.
it is a bunch of companies and organizations that want to work with veterans, and they all get together and talk about the services they offer with them. So I recommend you head on over to the Compass Quest Veteran Services page, their Facebook page, and for anybody that's listening, and check
Right.
out on this Joining Community Forces Council meeting. If you have interest in veterans, if your company or business helps out with veterans, show up to this, and it's a great chance to network.
Great.
So, Mike, I wanted to thank you for coming out
Man,
and hanging out, man. It's been a pleasure.
I'm having a good time. I'm sorry it's over.
Awesome. Now we'll go out and we'll go tour the compound a little bit, look at the escape rooms.
Man,
and
I'm telling you what, you put it together. Like I said earlier, I came here, it was brush hog paths through the briars, man. It's
Much
really
more
coming
now,
on.
so-
Compound is truly a compound.
so just like that, with the True North Vision, Jimmy out.
See ya.